Announcing the arrival of Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Abdul Rashid Husin, Pro-Chancellor of University Technical Malaysia Melaka. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise.
Satu hati walau berbilang bangsa dan bersama kawanannya. Satu jiwa tak kira apa warna, takkan ada yang memisahkan kita. Selamanya Malaysia kita, Melayu, Cina, India, bukankah dasar kita sejiwa? Malaysia merdani, rakyat disantuni, timur, barat, selatan dan utara. Malaysia merdani, bersatu hati, kita semua sama Malaysia. Malaysia merdani, rakyat disantuni, satukan asa demi negara. Malaysia merdani, bersatu hati, kita semua sama Malaysia.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem, Negaraku, followed by UTEM anthem, UTEM to Belong.
gentlemen, please be seated. Yang berbahagia Tan Sri Abdul Rashid Husin, Pro-Chancellor UTM. Yang berbahagia Datuk Dr. Husaini bin Omar, Chairman of the University's Board of Directors. Yang berbahagia Profesor Datuk Teknologis Dr. Masila binti Kamaludin, Vice Chancellor of UTM as well as the Chairperson for Malaysian Technical University Network. Representatives from Malaysian Technical University Networks, strategic partners, industries partners, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam Malaysia Madani. Salam kebersamaan UTM mendepani perubahan. On behalf of Faculty of Artificial Intelligence and Cyber Security Ifacs from University Technical Malaysia Melaka, we warmly welcome you to the International Festival on Artificial Intelligence and Cyber Security Ifacs 2025. We are honored by your presence and look forward to a day full of insightful discussions, knowledge sharings and collaboration.
Lebat kemiri, pohonnya rendah, dahan terikat tali perkasa, 10 jari tangan ditada, mohon berkat yang Maha Esa. To begin this auspicious occasion, let us seek blessing for success, peace and harmony. We would like to invite Technologist Dr. Abdul Shukir Bon Mahmud Jaya to lead the doa recitation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. O Allah, we express our gratitude to you for allowing us to attend opening ceremony of the International Festival of Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity Ifacs 2025, organized by Faculty of AI and Cybersecurity Ifacs UTM and Malaysia Technical University Network on this auspicious morning. O Allah, we ask you for the safety of our religion and the welfare of our body. O Allah, Lord of implementing authority, make the days that we will go through, starting with your mercy, continue with your blessing, and ended with thy forgiveness. And also, make the days that we will go through with guidance and end with the victory of excellence. O Allah, let our efforts as a means to enlighten and convince ourselves for achieving happiness and excellence in various fields. O Allah, grant us faith and strength in order to face the challenges of life. Allahumma arina al-haqqa haqqa warzuqna ittiba'ah wa arina al-batila batila warzuqna ijtinabah. Rabbana la tuzigh qulubana ba'da idh hadaytana wa hab lana min ladunka rahmah innaka antal wahhab. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you, Dr. Abdul Shukur, for the meaningful heartfelt prayer.
Bukan rumput sebarang rumput, rumput penghias tepi halaman. Bukan jemput sebarang jemput, jemput memohon kata aluan. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now our great pleasure to invite Yang Berbahagia Profesor Datuk Teknologis Dr. Masila binti Kamaludin, Vice Chancellor of University Technical Malaysia Melaka, also the Chairperson for Malaysian Technical University Network, to deliver her speech. Please welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yang berbahagia Tan Sri Abdul Rashid Husin, Pro-Chancellor of University Technical Malaysia Melaka. Yang berbahagia Datuk Dr. Husaini bin Omar, Chairman, University Board of Directors of UTM. Representative from Malaysian Technical University Network, MTUN, strategic partners and industry partners, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam Malaysia Madani dan salam kebersamaan UTM mendepani perubahan. It is with great pleasure and deep gratitude that I, on behalf of University Technical Malaysia Melaka, welcome all of you to the International Festivals of AI and Cybersecurity 2025, an international event proudly organized by the Faculty of Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity Ifacs. Today marks another milestone in UTM's journey as a leading institution in driving innovation, excellence, and knowledge advancements in the fields of artificial intelligence, AI, and cybersecurity. We are deeply honored to have Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Abdul Rashid Hussein, Pro-Chancellor of UTM, to officiate this event, and Tan Sri is very supporting since the beginning of Ifacs till now. Thank you, Tan Sri. Distinguished guests, the Ifacs 2025 served as a strategic platform to bring together key stakeholders including academics, researchers, scientists, and industry professionals from across the globe to discuss pressing issues and challenges in advanced TVET, focusing on artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. Beyond being a scholarly event, Ifacs represents a bridge for cross-border collaboration, uniting brilliant minds to craft sustainable, innovative solutions for the digital future. This initiative also stands as a testament to UTM's strong commitment in supporting the national agenda championed by the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, in accelerating the nation's growth through the advancements of AI technologies. UTM views this as an opportunity to enhance Malaysia's global competitiveness and to develop a future-ready, high-skilled workforce capable of thriving in the era of digital transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, through Ifacs, we aim to achieve three main objectives. Firstly, to strengthen Ifacs as a center of excellence in AI and cybersecurity through keynotes and forums involving leaders from both academia and industry. Secondly, to generate new research ideas and foster critical thinking and problem solving through meaningful academic discussions and strategies. And finally, to enhance strategic collaborations between industry and academia in developing practical, innovative solutions in AI and cybersecurity. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's Ifacs 2025 features a series of impactful activities, including 3 keynote sessions by distinguished guest speakers. First is Mr. Daniel Azizan, Head of Country from Google for Education. And secondly is by Mr. Zulkarnain Asnawi, representative from Fortinet Malaysia. And the third keynote by Associate Professor Dr. Kwan Guo from Guangzhou Minzu University, as well as a special academic forum by the M2 Network. And I was told this morning we will start with one speaker from Slovakia online. And I think this is also a good achievement to show how we work across the globe on AI. These sessions will highlight global perspective on the future of AI and cybersecurity, exploring how these technologies can empower digital economies and fortify national cybersecurity frameworks. Ladies and gentlemen, in this era of automation and data-driven innovation, AI and cybersecurity stand as two fundamental pillars of digital resilience. Yet, with progress comes responsibility, which is to ensure that technology is deployed ethically, inclusively, and in service of humanity. This is where universities like M2 play a critical role to nurture a generation that is not only technologically adept, but also guided by integrity, wisdom, and social awareness. UTM remains steadfast in its mission to be at the forefront of advanced TVET education and research, focusing on AI, cybersecurity, smart automation, and industrial digital transformation. Through strategic collaborations with global universities and industry leaders, we are confident that Malaysia can advance towards becoming a regional hub for technology and innovation. And I'm very confident with the audience here today. And my promise to Tan Sri, UTM will lead this transformation, especially in AI and also cybersecurity. And M2 should also lead to provide graduates or talents for the industries. I was told by Tan Sri just now, the industries need 60,000 of AI experts out there. So maybe M2 next is to focus on this area more in comparison to the others. Before I conclude, I would like to extend my heartfelt appreciation to Ifacs UTM for spearheading this event, to all strategic partners from academia and industry for their continued support, and to all participants of Ifacs 2025 for being part of this meaningful initiative. My Ifacs 2025 serves as a fertile platform for the exchange of ideas, international collaborations and innovations that benefit not only Malaysia but the global community. With shared vision and collective commitment, I believe this event will mark another proud chapter of UTM history in the advancements of higher education in our nation. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Professor Datuk Vice Chancellor, for the inspiring words and for your continuous vision in leading UTM towards excellence in higher education and research, both locally and globally.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now have the honor to invite Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Abdul Rashid Hussein, Pro-Chancellor of UTM, to deliver his opening remarks and to officiate today's event.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yang Berbahagia Datuk Husaini bin Umar, Chairman of the University Board of Directors, Yang Berbahagia Professor Datuk Dr. Masila bin Kamarudin, which I have a great pleasure in working very closely more and more. Representative from the Malaysian Technical Universities Network, UTUN, I believe is what you call yourself, strategic partners and in industry partners, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and Salam Sejahtera. Salam Malaysia Madani, salam kebersamaan UTM mendapat mendampingi perubahan. Alhamdulillah, all praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for with His grace and permission, we are able to gather here this morning to enliven the official opening ceremony of the International Festival of Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity. I was only brought in very last minute. Your conference was only brought to my attention literally, I think, last Thursday or Friday. But it is a subject, obviously, I've taken to my heart, and I have a great deal of interest, and my involvement with UTM is such. I mean, if it's anything I feel I could sort of put it with a lot of gusto and lots of support, it surely must be in this particular area, because it is a subject matter that we all shall be watching with a great deal of interest, that really is going to change our life, not only here, but I think throughout the world. To me, artificial intelligence, I speak not as an expert on artificial intelligence. I will make my first confession to you. I know next to nothing about artificial intelligence in the true technical subject, in terms of the technicality of the subject. But I do understand, having been, live experience of being a practical investor, and to know what trends mean, or to forecast trends. And I think those of us who follows market, who are investors in the world, who understand that exactly, what the technological development is doing to the marketplace, to the economy, and to recalibrate everything, including the inevitable in everything. It is as even a factor in your geopolitical tension that is in fact, prevailing as a result of this race as who shall be number one in AI. It is obviously so important to the leaders, to the industry. People don't really understand it. People are very frightened of it. They don't know whether they're going to lose their job, whether they're going to be irrelevant. Therefore, it's all the more important from our point of view that this university, which has been very innovative, very applied in its teaching, be very serious in adopting the changes that will be the future of how mankind is going to be evolved. So, thank you, Dr. Masilia, for taking my advice on this very seriously, and I think congratulations to you that you have very, very quickly incorporated into our practice. All right. Later in my speech, I think I will cover, the number of students that you are aiming to produce. And I actually touch on the subject matter. You, based on your forecast, that Malaysia needs about 30,000 people, on this particular industry. That seems to me as a very narrow sort of definition of the skill set that you need in terms of what you do. Because this subject matter, as you know, as those of us who are beginning to learn the subject begin to understand, you can break it up into three parts. There is a cybersecurity part, there is the engineering part, artificial intelligence, and then there is that teaching part which you do best. And in fact, I go to university always with an understanding, basically, it doesn't really matter what the university teach. The most important tool for a university to teach is effectively you must be thinking, you must be teaching people with a thinking tool, not a technical subject, not a curriculum that basically, you study by heart, because everything changes so fast. And unless you are able to be adaptive, unless you are able to be creative, and particularly in a subject matter like this, you'll not be relevant. And therefore, I do want you to take this up very seriously, all right? And go for the global standard. Be the number one in Malaysia, all right? As you should be. This is not in my speech, but this is coming from me in terms of my thought processes, and I thought I'd like you to adopt that spirit in approaching this. I think with that backdrop, obviously when I drop a couple of things I have to do, and I say, with pleasure, I'll come here today, not only to do the opening, but I'm also here very keen to learn, and therefore I will be sitting in the first half of this session, hoping I will too have some takeaway, to mull upon, learn, and certainly take it out from there. And I'm even keen to even learn a lot more deeper than that on the subject. In this area of rapid digital transformation, artificial intelligence and cybersecurity are shaping the future. We all accept, and Malaysia is no exception, is moving decisively, we hope, in this direction. How coordinated it is something obviously we shall watch, with interest. But anyway, I hope UTAN will do its bit in terms of contributing to this journey. In August 2024, our Prime Minister, YB Dato' Sri Anwar, expressed the nation's aspiration to place Malaysia among the top 20 countries in artificial intelligence. Following this, the Cabinet approved the establishment of the National Artificial Intelligence Office, or NAIO, I have a difficulty in getting this word right, which officially began operation in December 2024. Now, NAIO serves as the national hub for AI research, development, and coordination, driving Malaysia towards an innovative and knowledge-based digital economy. In support of this agenda, the Ministry of Higher Education encourages universities to collaborate strategically through academic consortium to strengthen the country's AI ecosystem. Responding to this call, University Technical Malaysia Malacca, as part of this collaborative effort, established the Faculty of Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity, Ifacs, which began operation on 27 November 2024. Early start, never too late, but a lot of catch up to do. However, as Malaysia advances in digital transformation, there remains a significant shortage of skilled professionals in these critical fields. By the end of 2025, the nation will require, according to the official figure, 27,000 cybersecurity experts and about 10,000 AI skilled workers. Notice these official figures, which I doubt. Right? I think it's so skewed to the cybersecurity, right, rather than about AI in terms of being the innovator and the producer, right? And that is why, Doctor, when I came in here, I deliberately showed you that figure, because that's a figure I talked to my friends in the industry, the people I'm interested in terms of what they're doing, and roughly postulating that if you take half of that figure, basically, I mean, this is already overwhelmingly in terms of cybersecurity. It cannot be, all right, in terms of what's happening with your data center, with the other people that you want to attract, and how we evolve as an economy, all right? I mean, we as evolve as an economy, we have no choice but to be, basically upgrading our skill set. And if you want to break through from the middle income bottleneck that we have been for too long, beautiful as Malaysia is in terms of our growth rate and recipe, but it is true that our people don't earn enough, and because I think we are so trapped in this middle income bottleneck, and it is what you do is going to make us to have a breakthrough, to make a difference whether we're just an emerging economy, or are we going to move to a developed economy status? We should, with the skill set that we have, the people that we have, we do have a lot of intelligent people, as you know. A lot of it, unfortunately, this country loses a lot of people out that leaves the country on the brain drain, right? You too would face the danger, basically, as you train and as you're trying to compete, whether or not they will stay here or they will move out of this country and look for a better job, better salary elsewhere. This is where the challenge is for all policymakers in what we do and how we develop it. And you here have an excellent opportunity to show that you can help transform this mindset, this basically the problem the country faces in retaining people and in the training skill set has been developed. What you do as a catalyst for the next move of this economy, where it should be moving to the high level of skill. To help bridge this gap, that therefore reminds me, why I throw the figures of 60,000. It was not something I pluck up of the air. And then I think if we, I know certainly cybersecurity is so much needed in all the financial services area, and I think literally other people too are beginning to find they need cybersecurity. And if they're anything like a middle level organization to a bigger organization, for sure, yeah, you will need it. But on its own, as an artificial intelligence, for you to think, yeah, 10,000 is what this country needs, then I think you misses the point in terms of what is happening around the world in this particular area, where people have swung completely. Basically, in emphasizing to create the next generation of people who understands this to be creative. And this is your chance. We've never been a center of excellence in terms of technological development in this country. As a supply chain, basically we're producing the cheap labor, and just a clock in the machinery of producing things. But here, you have to do more than that in order to claim your right and your claim of fame to the world. And I think this university should be responsible, to start thinking seriously the curriculum that you offer, and think whether or not your faculty should just be a faculty under one or two faculty, or is it a faculty that teaches three things in three cohorts in terms of the subject matter that we talk about. Anyway, back to my speech. To help bridge this gap, UTAN through Ifacs has set up a targeted enrollment for us to start off with 3,500 students in AI and cybersecurity, reflecting the university's strong commitment to developing competent industry reality graduates who will drive and secure Malaysia's digital future. In other words, we should be as applied science as you can possibly get. And one of the things that I'm very keen, and whichever universities that I serve, and I serve in 2 universities. I think basically the mark of success in today's university to me is in fact how employable are the people you produce. And that is a very important discipline that I really want you not to forget. This initiative is also aligned with the aspiration of the Malaysian Technical University Network, which strive to advance the core pillars of the national higher education agenda, developing top national talent, strengthening academic excellence and campus community, and promoting meaningful knowledge transfer and collaboration with industry. My brief encounter with you, you have a marvelous start. We have a very good sort of relationship with the industry. I see that, and I think I'm very proud of that. And I think this is the kind of spirit and culture I want you to cultivate. That we will always be linked and related to the real world. And the real world for us is the industry. Surely must be one of our prime partners with us in what we do. All these focus areas are directed towards a common purpose to elevate the excellent impact and global standing of Malaysia's higher education ecosystem. In this regard, the Malaysian Technical University Network plays a vital role in bridging the nation's talent gap in artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. Through the advanced technical and vocational education and training approach, MTUN universities are nurturing future digital professionals who can thrive in an increasingly technology-driven world. Within the MTUN, each university plays a vital role in advancing the nation's AI and cybersecurity agenda. At UTN, the newly established Faculty of Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity, Ifacs in short, leads national effort in driving AI innovation and strengthening digital trust. At UNIMAP, the Faculty of Intelligent Computing focus on developing intelligent systems and smart technologies. Faculty of Computing, UMPSA, contributes through its programs in artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and data analytical, while Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology, UTN offers the Bachelor of Computer Science in Information Security, preparing graduates with the expertise to safeguard data and critical digital assets. This morning conversation with you, Doctor, this degree that we have offered is something also I think is worthwhile. Expanding, exploring, and finding out how relevant is this job title, basically in the sphere of the fast development that is taking place in this industry as a new breed of professional that the world is beginning to define and redefine. Together, these universities under UTN are cultivating the next generation of AI and cybersecurity leaders, strengthening Malaysia's capabilities and positioning the nation as a competitive player in the global digital economy. Dear distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the International Festival on Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity is an important initiative under the Malaysian Technical University Network designed to showcase, strengthen, and empower the development of artificial intelligence and cybersecurity within Malaysia and beyond. This festival marks the inaugural edition of Ifacs, representing a significant milestone for Meton universities in advancing the national AI and cybersecurity agenda. It serves as a collaborative platform where academics, industry, and international partners come together to share knowledge, exchange ideas, and explore opportunities for joint research and innovation. I'm highly confident and believe that the organization of such program is a proactive step that can add value to the quality of life of this civilized or modernist society in Malaysia. This program is also hoped to deliver a significant, holistic, and direct impact in upgrading the lifestyle and social status of our society. We will ensure that participants will learn many tools and techniques related to artificial intelligence and cybersecurity in this festival. I would like to highlight that whatever tools and techniques that we have, that we learn, we should apply and practice in order to improve and be proactive. Once again, congratulations and thank you to all parties, especially University Technical Malaysia Malacca and the Secretary for their efforts in ensuring the smooth running of this program. I will ensure that University Technical Malaysia Malacca strongly support the continuation of programs and festivals such as this in the future, involving more government agencies, industries, and non-governmental organizations. May, with the cooperation of all, this effort be able to empower and be more proactive in strengthening the education community. Finally, with the phrase of Kalima, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful, with a great pleasure, I am opening the International Festival of Artificial Intelligence.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Pro-Chancellor, and with great pleasure, we would now like to invite Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Pro-Chancellor to remain on the stage to officiate the launch ceremony.
And for that, please welcome our distinguished guests, as well as representatives from Malaysian Technical University Network MTUN, to join Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Pro-Chancellor on stage to witness and grace this special officiation ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, in few moments, we will witness the launch gimmick symbolizing the official opening of today's event. This will be followed immediately by a special montage presentation showcasing the spirit of innovation and collaboration at UTAM.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would now like to invite Yang Berbahagia Datuk Vice Chancellor UTM to present a memento to Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Pro-Chancellor.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Pro-Chancellor, for graciously officiating the ceremony and accepting our token of appreciation. Ladies and gentlemen, we are excited to bring you our first keynote session all the way from Slovakia. We are truly honored to have this opportunity to connect across borders through live streaming. Please join us in welcoming virtually Associate Professor Dr. Marek Banzel from Technical University of Košice, Slovakia, who will be delivering his keynote speech entitled Perceiving Reality, AI Object Detection Across Wild Terrain and Human Body. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm virtual round of applause as we connect live to Slovakia for our keynote address.
Okay, good morning everyone. I hope that you can hear me well. Unfortunately, I can watch you together with my presentation, so I hope you will enjoy it. And my name is Marek Banzel. I'm from Technical University in Košice, Slovakia, from the Department of Cybernetics and Artificial Intelligence. And today I would like to briefly introduce myself and the research which I will talk about a little more in detail tomorrow. Yeah. So, Slovakia is a small country in Europe, somewhere around here. Here we can see it in more detail. We are surrounded by Hungary, Ukraine, Poland, Germany, and Austria. And within Slovakia, Technical University of Košice is located in the second largest city, which is Košice. Our capital is Bratislava. So everything depends on the scale, but for Slovakia, we are considered a relatively big university, and our city is also considered like a larger city because simply we are a small country and we don't have these mega cities that are so common, for example, in Asia. And our university has nearly 12,000 students and we care for them as a staff of about 840 teachers and researchers. We have 9 faculties which care about different kinds of science and research and also engineering. And we are a public university, which means that 79% of our financing comes from public financing from the state, and 21% is from different kinds of projects. Many of them are research projects. So Košice is not a big city, but it's a nice city, I would say. We have about 100,000 inhabitants, and we are also relatively old because we got the town privileges more than 700 years ago. The department I work at has a name of like Department of Cybernetics and Artificial Intelligence. And again, we are a relatively small department of 21 people. We have 21 more PhD students who also contribute pretty much to the research and teaching. And we care about approximately 650 students in 5 different years of the university studies. The projects that are covered by the department are various, and I would like to mention out of them the cooperation with the European Organization for Nuclear Research, which is a pretty high profile, I would say, cooperation with the European Space Agency, and also we are involved in the projects of European Union, and we have many national funded projects of research and development. A little about me. I got my master's degree in what was was at that time called technical cybernetics, which now is more focused on artificial intelligence. And most of my professional life I was connected with Technical University in Košice, but I spent a substantial portion of my work life also abroad, for example in Denmark, or 2 years in Japan at Waseda University in Tokyo. I was then continuing my career at Technical University, and presently I'm at the position of associate professor. My focus is mostly on biological inspired artificial intelligence, which means mostly artificial neural networks, but I was also active in optimization algorithms such as evolutionary or swarm optimization algorithms. Regarding my present teaching, I teach in 2 courses of computer vision, like basic course and advanced course, and I have also a very favorite course of bioinformatics, where I teach about the connection of nature and technology, mostly in the field of storing, processing, and transporting information in living systems. Related to my research are 3 main fields. 2 of them, I would say, are concentrated on computer vision, and those are medical imagery analysis and point cloud-based imagery analysis, which is more mostly geospatial data. The 3rd one is adaptive rehabilitation, and I would like to briefly go over these research topics. So, first let's start with biomedical image analysis. And from the work we have been doing, I will focus on a specific field, which was ultrasound data processing. We have been focused on chest ultrasound, which is a relatively new domain. It is used only since 2014, and we have cooperated with the clinics of thoracic surgery in Slovakia to collect a relatively substantial data set that we use to train models of convolutional neural networks. So the lung ultrasound or chest ultrasound is performed with a standard ultrasound device. There are different kinds of probes, but it's not that important right now. And the intention is not to scan really the tissue of lungs, because that's almost invisible on ultrasound. It's full of air and doesn't have any significant reflection. But what's important is going on at the boundary of the lungs and the chest wall, and this pleura layer is what's visible mostly in lung ultrasound. The advantages of using ultrasound for chest investigations or examinations is that it's more easy to operate than the standard imaging techniques as computer tomography or magnetic resonance. And you can bring it to the bed of the patient, which reduces the costs, and also it reduces the stress and the infection risk for the patients. And there is no harmful radiation, and you can do it in real time. The problems, on the other hand, include low resolution, higher noise, and you can only get 2-dimensional imaging, at least for chest ultrasound. The images we are getting look approximately like this, and here we can see a few of the artifacts we are looking for, which are namely A lines and B lines, which we can see here labeled pleura, which is the membrane I was talking about, And some of the signs are static, like these ones, which means they can be recognized only in only like in one frame. Only you can take a look on one frame and you can see those artifacts. And other artifacts are temporal, which is, for example, lung sliding and lung point, which occurs when the lungs slide over the chest wall. That's a normal state if it's like so. Lung sliding is a normal state, but in some cases, for example, after surgery or after an infection, this may be absent. Technically, we have been following implementation of this protocol. It's called Blue Protocol, and that's for use of ultrasound in emergency situations. And it starts, as you may see, with identification of lung sliding presence, and then other signs are detected, presence of A lines or B lines. So we have implemented neural network models for automatic recognition of these signs, and to finish this part of the decision tree that brings you from the primary detection of lung sliding presence or absence to the final diagnosis, what's going on in the chest, to this side until lung point identification, which means we were finding the boundary where the lung point, where the lung sliding stops and starts again. The rest of the decision tree is performed using different examination technology. So I will not go in detail through the data types we have been using, but just to show you, we have been collecting a data set with the cooperation with the doctors that was labeled for supervised learning. And here we can see the example of the labeling. In ideal case, the doctors were using polygons to label the important artifacts in the images. And in the optimal case, there were several of these doctors, and so we could have like a consensus of few. Because that's one of the problems of using ultrasound in medical care, that the agreement between several experts is only about 60–70%. So it's not really like 100% diagnosis if something is there or not. Even the human experts may disagree in a large portion of cases. So our data set contained 200 videos, which were containing about 120,000 frames, and the labeling would be impossible to label each single frame, so we used so-called weak labeling. So the doctor labeled only every 10th frame of the video, and we used interpolation. Either we used or we didn't, but most of the time we used interpolation for the remaining frames between each 10th. And so we have been labeling, or doctors have been labeling, for A lines, B lines, lung sliding, and for segmentation of bladder. The problems were various, and one of the problems was that if you use different imaging machines, like for example here we can see examples from Lumify and Hitachi, the images will be not totally but slightly different. They will differ in the grain size and resolution. But in medical practice, we cannot rely on a single machine, so we had to build the models robust enough to be capable to absorb data from different machines. Also, not entire image contains the important information. Sometimes it's a relatively narrow portion in the middle of the image, because In chest ultrasound, the image is taken between two ribs, which can be seen here as the dark shadows, because what's below the ribs we cannot actually see, because the ribs reflect all the sound waves and cast what is called sound shadow. So when we separate the important part of the image and we want to use a convolutional neural network, we must deal with making the input the same size. And one option is to use resampling. So we resample the input image into the same format, the same aspect ratio and same resolution. This may distort the artifacts that are visible in the video. And the second method we used was padding. But unfortunately, at plain zero padding, the image didn't lead to satisfactory results. Sometimes the convolutional kernels focused too much on the edge of the image, as we can see on the saliency map, and not on the artifact which we were looking for. And for our purposes, and this what we call like spatial cloning edge pixels, which mean basically using the nearest neighbor interpolation for interpolating outside of the image, had the best results for us. Also, even though we had labeled together almost 120,000 frames, it still doesn't mean that the dataset is sufficiently large to avoid, for example, overfitting when training the models. And so we have experimented with artificially generated images using GAN networks, which were generating the artificial images. But we had to use conditional generation, because we also needed to generate the segmentation masks, because we were using supervised learning. I will not go through all the models we have been using, but I will pick up only a few interesting ones. For example, the model that was used for lung sliding. We used first a semantic segmentation, an encoder-decoder architecture, and for this purpose we used a relatively simple one, a unit, to identify portions of the image, especially focused on pleura. And then we took a sample from several frames in the middle of pleura and constructed what is called like a motion ultrasound, which is accumulating the information over several frames, and this was recognized by convolutional neural network and classified if there is lung sliding present or absent. We went like that through the entire video, and if the majority of the frames was classified as lung sliding present, then we classified that the person has lung sliding present. Also, we have been experimenting with different configurations. Here is the example of lung sliding detection on motion mode ultrasound, which I just talked about. But we also tried to put like multi-dimensional tensor on the input containing several frames of the ultrasound video, and to use encoder-decoder architectures for semantic segmentation, which could also help us to not only to detect lung sliding, but also the boundary between lung sliding presence and absence, which is called the lung point. We were also experimenting with hybrid models, which in this case means that we used feature extractors, which later were fed into like a recurrent neural network, like for example LSTM, and decoded again for the same purpose. What is interesting is the comparison to human performance, and Just to take it very superficially, our models performed worse than the well-trained doctors, but much better than the junior doctors that were already trained for the task of recognizing the signs we are talking about. The second field I would like to talk about a little more briefly is adaptive rehabilitation. I would like to keep this presentation more in computer vision. And why adaptive rehabilitation? It's because when a person is doing some kind of physical exercise or mental exercise to regain the capabilities after an injury or illness, then the machine exercising with the person should be capable to adapt and to optimize in an optimization loop how the person exercises to maximize the gains. And for this purpose, we usually construct some kind of computer game. Here is a very simple example from 10 years ago, controlled by Kinect, where we can see a spinal cord, a patient with a spinal cord injury. And the patient is controlling the avatar that's walking around an island, and this helps the patient first to battle the depression and isolation after such an injury, and also like to keep the contralateral stereotypes of walking in the brain. Here we have a few other examples of this adaptive principle, and I will go through that directly to our device that we developed for several years, which is called Rehab INO. This is the first prototype. It looked like this, and it uses force sensors to measure the forces exerted by the fingers. The first prototype was designed by ourselves, and it looks appropriately. Later, we hired the services of a professional designer, and we started to make the prototype more ergonomic. It's easier to hold in the hand, also for patients which have limited mobility in the hands. And here are a few prototypes, which look like this. Here it's me, looking a little scared, holding the prototype, like what's it doing? But it's working relatively okay. And we included some additional features to the measuring of forces, like for example vibration stimulation of fingertips, and later also inertial measurement units to track the motions of the prototype in space. We use 3D printing of high quality materials materials which can be used in medical field to build the prototypes. And here we can see the prototype we are using right now. We can see here like the tunnels, because it's measuring the forces not only in flexion but also in extension when we just open the hands. And we can see the points for vibrational stimulation of fingertips. And inside there is this inertial measurement unit that also can track the device, how it's moved in space, so we can use it also for some 3D games, etc. And again, we built simple games that are exercised by the patients. Sometimes the patients have very limited mobility or spasticity in the hands, so we have to make the games very simple but rewarding at the same time to stimulate them to exercise. And we use the data to distinguish, for example, between Parkinson patients and healthy subjects based on the signal processing from the tensometers, from the force sensors. So here it's a very nice example of a person with tremor and a healthy individual. So I will skip this, but what is my dream, and we are now implementing the dream, is to build a a system that's modular. It's a rehabilitation ecosystem which consists of a cloud data storage and modules, like every device represents a new module, a rehabilitation device. Every game represents a module in these systems. You can plug it in, and then you can plug in also like data visualization tools and data analysis tools, so you can make it accessible for a wide range of devices, wide range of users, and all will have the capability to simply implement their own analytical tools to visualize and recommend for like future exercises. Okay, this is a view of how the European device could look later as a professional or market-ready product, but let's go now to the last part of my presentation today, and it's about how AI aids Maya archaeology, and not only Maya archaeology. So first, a little theory. I was working mostly with data that are scanned using a LiDAR aerial survey, and the advantage of such scanning is that we can get below the tree canopy. So we can get reflection of the laser beam from the ground, which allows us to build a digital terrain model. And for heavily forested areas, that's presently the only method we can use practically to reveal the features that are hidden below the trees, the surface features, of course. And this is a general example, and for us, the model looks like this, and here we can see very nice rectangular structures that are the Maya structures in Guatemala. So, Guatemala is in Central America. Large part of it is heavily forested, and here it borders to Mexico and Yucatan Peninsula, and Maya civilization was concentrated mostly in this area. So we used data labeled by experts, and these yellow lines are labeling of experts, to detect Maya buildings. And we used several models, and for this specific purpose, UNet++ was used with a great success for identification of buildings, which are the green spots identified by the neural network. It looks like this. We have a specific portion of terrain, and I have shown you like a very visible large structures, but many of the structures are not that visible, like here in this example. So the neural network model segments the positions where it's possible that the buildings are. And to validate it, I was fortunate enough to go to Guatemala twice for several weeks, and to do like a verification, a field verification, which means go to every object and label it if it's really a building or if it's something different, like it can be the result of construction activity like here, but it's not a building. It's, for example, an edge of a terrace or something similar. And based on this survey, which was performed on many objects, like 400 objects, we have concluded that we have very low false positivity, which is good, but also very low false negativity. So the model omitted only a few buildings out of these 350 buildings we have visited. And we want to proceed from this, like the semantic segmentation of the structures we are interested in, to this, which is a 3D model of the Maya settlements. This is manually built, and we used models of my colleagues and a decision tree that looks something like this, considering the size of the mound that was left by the building, to reconstruct a digital model of the settlement, which first it looks nice in 3D, but more useful it is when we project it on 2D and we get this vectorization and identification of the types of the buildings that are in the terrain, like for example, temple pyramid or a house for living or a palace, etc. Here are a few images from the field verification. I like outdoor activities and I enjoyed it quite a lot. Here are a few images again showing the remnants of the Maya structures in the rainforest. And it's me and my PhD student doing the actual verification. So I will again skip through this because it's too much for now, and so these are the results of the documentation using 3D photogrammetry from the objects to sites, and we used the digitized models to, for example, build a real 3D printed model. And just very briefly, I will talk about detection or identification of Maya glyphs, which are, for example, written in this stela, very heavily eroded stela, which, when we remove the textures, can reveal that actually there are some writings on it. So my idea was to use something like Google Translate and to point it on an artifact and see what's written there. And this proved to be a very difficult task, but we are working on all of these parts of the pipeline. Some of them are working better, some of them are working worse. Here we can see the 3D scans of Maya stela, the point clouds, and we are working on semantic segmentation of some portions of the glyphs, on reconstruction of the eroded image, on redrawing the image in a form that's searchable in catalogs, and this is actually the most difficult thing to do. And also implemented a mechanism for searching in the catalogs using Siamese neural networks. So, my 30 minutes are over, and I would like to thank you for your attention. And, well, I will have another talk later, so this will go in more detail. Thank you very much. It's my honor to speak at this festival.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Marek Banzel from Technical University of Košice, Slovakia, for his keynote speech entitled Perceiving Reality AI Object Detection Across Wild Terrain and Human Body.
We truly appreciate your valuable sharing on how AI continues to revolutionize the way machines perceive and interpret the world around us, from dynamic natural environments to complex human anatomy. Ladies and gentlemen, today's session serves as a preview. If you would like to learn more or ask questions, please join us for the upcoming session by Dr. Marek Banzel on 11 November 2025 at 9 p.m. Malaysia time.
So I have received the instruction to close the floor. I'm so sorry. We will proceed with the next agenda. And before we proceed with the next agenda, as mentioned by Dr. L just now, this is rather a preview because we will have our upcoming session with Associate Professor Dr. Marek Banzel on 11th of November 2025, 9 p.m. Malaysia time. And ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite our distinguished guests to visit the booth at the foyer and proceed to the banquet room for the refreshment session. And for the audience as well, we will take a short break before our second keynote with the industry keynote session, which is scheduled to commence at 11:15. So thank you so much. With that, I would like to invite our distinguished guests. accompanied by Yang Berbahagia Datuk Dr. Chairman of the University's Board of Directors, as well as Yang Berbahagia Professor Datuk Vice Chancellor, to visit the booth and proceed to the banquet for refreshment session.